Megan Whitman.
And who is Megan Whitman?
Megan Whitman is a 25-year-old lesbian woman. I work at the University of Pennsylvania as an advisor to undergraduate students, and I'm fairly local.
Passionate about.
I'm really passionate about lots of things. As it relates to this, I'm really passionate about making sure that LGBT students feel included and safe on college campuses. So I decided to attend graduate school at the University of Pennsylvania for higher education because I knew that I wanted to work with students, and that was identified as a result of my college experience, which took place at a large public state university, which large public state university usually means few resources.
Right.
So while I was a student there, I didn't feel like I had much of a connection to any administrators. I didn't feel like there were a ton of resources available to the population that I identified with, or the populations I identify with. And as a result, I sort of had a lot of like lingering shame about who I was. So when I identified this program and that I could tailor it to sort of fit my interests, both like in terms of academic research and in terms of a career move, it seemed like a good fit. So when I started school at Penn grad school, I took up a job there for the year working at the LGBT Center.
Right.
So that placed me like right in the middle of the community. So since I was a graduate student, they really wanted me to focus on the graduate student population at Penn, which is about 10,000 students across all schools. So it's a lot, but I did have lots of touch points with undergraduate students because the same sort of principles apply to different.
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah, exactly. So my main job was at Penn there's 12 graduate schools, so to identify leaders in the LGBT community who wanted to be in charge of like spearheading their school's LGBT related group, whether it was a professional group in the medical school or a social group at, say, the Wharton School. I had 12 groups that I advised the leadership boards of, and some groups are way more robust than others. So some groups were very like fledgling. Some schools didn't have groups, and what I did, my goal was to make the groups that were dwindling or non-existent, which there were two schools, the School of Education and the Social Policy School, didn't have groups. So work to create those groups, work to provide resources to help them plan programs that would relate to the LGBT students in their respective academic communities, to ensure that there was like an adequate level of representation across the university.
Okay.
And then also to help the groups that were already like, well substantiated. Things though that I did in liaison with some of these leaders, student leaders, we went to the dean of faculty affairs in each school and encouraged them and presented them with a proposal to add LGBT identity as a marker of diversity for hiring faculty, because there's really no.
So that would be like on their applications and stuff. That would be like something they would look at.
And it would be so it would be something that the search committees at the schools would care about, whereas diversity up until that point was only demarcated as people of color or women. So we wanted them to add that additional level of diversity so that
just to be recognized.
Exactly. So so that students could be taught by LGBT faculty. Though the issue with that is that it's not everybody is willing to self-identify.
Right.
I was obviously gay, and I did get harassed. What I'd love you to take away from it is that however bad it is now, it gets better, and it can get great.
The thing that we just spoke about, like the engagement with the student leaders, was all really to support the internal community, right? But I think the real change happens when you go out into the external community and educate them, or just present them with information. I don't like to say maybe educate, but so we ran a program through the LGBT Center led by my supervisor, who's the associate director, and myself, and it was called the Safe Space Program. So what we would do was go into other departments, bodies on campus, and sort of present them with information about all the nuances of the LGBT community. So we worked with like the athletic department, we worked with the engineering school, we worked with MBA students, just to name a few. Though pretty much like almost all departments at Penn have now had this training.
Okay.
It's like almost a half a day worth of training where they go through definitions as they pertain to the LGBT community, and the shocking, realization that people don't often know the difference between gender and sex, or sexual orientation and gender. Like there's just sort of lots of nuances there that say, your average heterosexual person doesn't know. It just brings the reality of the situation, makes it clearer, and I think it gives those people who are in power really the tools to support a diverse population, because Penn and institutions across the board are becoming increasingly more diverse.
Here's the first thing you need to know.
You are perfect and wonderful exactly as you are.
You're not alone.
There are a ton of us out here in this world.
We love you without even knowing you.
There's art to be made, and there are songs to be sung.
So hold on. Look at me, 80 years old. It gets better with age.
It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
So much better.
You'll be fine, partner.
Your life can be amazing, but you have to tough this period of it out and you have to live.